This is the Jim and Terry Show, talking about music in this podcast. In fact, we're going to talk about the process of music making and delivering ideas from the creative gears turning and screeching in our own minds between our ears to laying it down in terms of music and tracks and organizing an album and producing it and then giving it away to your friends.
Yeah. Anybody want to buy one?
In the day of streaming, does anybody buy anything?
I don't know. For me, it's a thing, posterity, not posterity.
A legacy.
Yeah.
It's a legacy. You want to hand a completed project over to who? Family, friends, associates?
Family. Yeah. I'm sort of, with my music, I'm stuck in the 70s kind of thing.
That's a style, a genre. That's not saying you're stuck.
Yeah, it's what I like. I like to listen to what I do, so it's what I kind of like. So, I don't fool myself by thinking all of a sudden, there's going to be a great run for my material. But I wouldn't mind, just for fun, sending something out to a producer or something in Nashville just to see if there's another band that may want to do my songs.
So if not you performing, a band covering.
Yeah, I would love bands covering. It's a lazy man's way of looking at it, really, and probably the way to make the most money if you were going to do it for money.
So portray yourself as a songwriter.
Yeah.
And get covered. Okay. Well, let's talk about the process, because your album is coming up. Do you have the name of the album? Is there a sample tune anywhere on your YouTube channel?
Oh, well, on YouTube you can get all the songs on it, but it's not mastered.
Have you put all your songs for this collection on YouTube?
Yeah, they're all on YouTube.
Okay, I thought I checked.
Jim Sampson's music, if you want to go, since we're promoting me.
I am looking at the Jim Sampson, and I see Divine Design, Take Two, Body, Spirit, and Soul, of All the Wonder, Eve of Eden. Those. So
yeah, but
if you go
to playlist, you see the playlist. If you click on playlist, you'll see the first 10 songs are all House of Mansions.
Okay, I'm under, well, it doesn't say House of Mansions, it just says Jim Sampson Music Play All. That's under playlist, but if I go to videos, I see them all listed.
Yeah, and then if you go to the playlist, you'll see the playlist is all of them. And then the first 10 on that list is the album House of Mansions, which has all the songs. 10 songs.
Right. Now, you used an illustration. I'm looking at your YouTube channel. This is Jim Sampson. The link is in the Jim and Terry Show at the bottom. So if you click on that, you go to Jim Sampson. The reason why I'm saying that is because it's his YouTube channel is called UC7 small a big Z HYD 4FE underscore blah 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 blah, and it goes on for like 25 digits or something. But if you click on the link in our page, you will find Jim Sampson and the 10 tracks for the House of Mansions. That illustration is not the one that's on your CD.
No, the one that's on the CD is a little doodle I did myself.
Is this a doodle you did yourself?
No, that's something I took
clip
off.
art.
Yeah, clip art.
So
the one I did myself, I wanted it to be simple, so it was a simple sketch. I wanted it to look like it was a doodle, so it's a house. It's House of Mansions. The reason I put this shack there, and it's a happy little place, as you can see in the picture. It's a happy little place. But the idea is, some of the scriptures say when Jesus said, "In my Father's house are many mansions, and I go there to prepare a place for you, and I'll bring you back there with me." Some translations say, "In my Father's house are many rooms." So I'm not quite sure what a mansion is, or the need of a mansion in glory. So that little shack represents, you're not taking it with you, or it represents the joy that you're going to have, and it may just be a room, a little shack. You're going to be happy with that. So the album's The House of Mansions, and there's 10 songs, and there's 2 of them about Joe, walking Joe to glory, and The House of Mansions about Joe too. So Soapbox Joe 1, Soapbox Joe 2, and I've completed writing, Soapbox Joe 1, Soapbox Joe 3 are on that album. Right. My next album, Soapbox Joe 2 is going to be there. And everybody goes, "Why are you going to do that?" Just because I can.
And that you are the artist and you are the recording engineer, and you've done it all. Now, I wanted to talk about the process for you, because you've battled all your life with a learning disability.
Yes.
And yet here you are producing your own music and an album with a fold-out 4-panel back and front, so there's a lot of words on there.
I'm very much... Did you realize how much of a lyricist I was? Because Terry's been helping me put the artwork, like putting it together so it can be duplicated, something I couldn't get my head around, and I need people to proofread because of my dyslexia and everything else. I'm a wordy guy, aren't I? Those
You are.
a lot of lyrics.
A lot of lyrics. That sort of reminds me of a Dylan type, just stream of consciousness.
I think so too.
It goes.
Yeah, Dylan or maybe Leonard Cohen.
You don't seem to be encumbered by a bar. And how many syllables can I... Usually a syllable will be with a quarter note or an eighth note. It's almost like rap style.
Yeah.
Like you just keep going, whatever you need to say, you're going to say it within whatever chord you're hitting.
I just do what happens.
Yeah.
Like when I write a song, it's usually in my mind. The song is written before a word goes down, and I know the ending. And funny enough, probably because of the hardship I have with reading and stuff, I almost dissemble it. I write it backwards almost. I know how it's going to end, so I have to write to that ending. And it's worked so far.
You're right back to front. Are you sure you're not Chinese? Because their books are from the back to the front.
Yeah, I know.
From an English point of view or a Western point of view. So the album is going to be released when? You've been at this for a while.
God. Well, you just saw the company just emailed me back, and I showed you the email. This is fine, but this is kind of weird, and you can't fit that because it's a 4-page insert. You can't fit that in the cover you've picked. You're going to have to pick a jewel case or something else, and you and me are going to look at that at the end, when we're finished doing this.
So there's still a few production decisions to be made.
Production decisions to be made. I asked him in that if I could send it in WAV file. He never replied to that, so I think he's thinking, first things first. Let's get this straightened out, what it's going to look like, and then whether or not you can get the sound.
To me, that's the opposite. I want to know that CD, the audio, is good to go.
Well, the thing is
point.
The only thing that would be wrong is it would have to be turned into DDP, is it?
Yeah, I don't know what that is
and
exactly.
I've got written down a free converter.
Okay,
so
perfect.
It can be converted into that. I just maybe would want to sit down across the table with you because it's blah, 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 and you're a little bit more
This
technical.
is where language becomes an issue. And if you're dyslexic, language is not the easiest thing. And whether that's preaching a sermon, you have to go over the passage before you start preaching from it. Reading is not easy. So here is a major accomplishment. So I do salute you.
Thank
and
you.
for those who are learning challenged in any way, just think. Jim's he's been a taxpayer all his life. He hasn't dodged as far as I know. He's had a successful life raising 4 kids. And all through that life, you fought these disabilities.
Had a computer supply company, and that was
And
fine.
it hasn't really been an impediment. So when we get a little apprehensive about people and what's the likelihood of success, you're a living testimony to overcoming disabilities and challenges.
Part of it happened, and I think this is important to tell because there may be other people out there. But part of what happened was I was watching a TV show. I was with my parents, and I wasn't living there anymore. I'd been gone, but it was on there, and it came up about dyslexia. And of course, everybody turned to me, and I even turned to me and said, "That's me."
Yeah.
And I went, "That's a disability? That's me." And I went, "I'm not stupid. I got a disability."
So you equated disability with stupidity. At least that's how society used to equate these
and
things.
once I realized I wasn't stupid, it opened the door to me.
Yes.
I mean, it's not my fault, that I have this thing.
No.
And well, up until then, you think it's your fault. Everybody else can read properly. You can't.
Yep.
Even to this day, if I read out loud, if I don't read it first and
rehearse it.
decipher it,
Yeah.
I'm going to sound like a 5-year-old reading. And sometimes, as you know, I do sermons and I've preached in church and have to read the scriptures, but I got to go over that. Mm-hmm. When I'm winging it, different story. I'll trip over my tongue, and that's just my personality.
Yes, so there's 2 different skills. One is expressive language. You have no problem with that. Expressive means you sit in front of a microphone and it turning you off is the problem.
That's the problem, yeah.
But reading is decoding a visual message on print, and you have trouble decoding the print version of language.
Well,
So
what I remember in school, the
that's
teacher said
receptive
he's
language.
he's got everything in the word, all in the wrong place.
Yeah, jumbled.
Yeah, and so I came to the conclusion that when I read at this particular state, I have to read the word and reassemble it. So I can't just go, blah, 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 blah. I have to read ahead of time and then reassemble it in my mind. Mm-hmm. And I found the older I'm getting, the more tiring it is to read.
With age, a lot of things become more tiring.
Yeah.
But here's to celebrating Jim Sampson's album, and it's
Hopefully
called
before Christmas.
House of Mansions, to be released before Christmas. Stay tuned. The Jim and Terry Show, signing off.
Thanks, Terry.